In this video, I'm going to show you how to configure policy with source NAT in Fortigate Firewall. So in the Fortigate Firewall policy with source NAT, there are different types of SNAT. But in this video, I'm going to show you static SNAT and the dynamic SNAT and central SNAT. I will show you later. I mean in next video. So first, I will make you understand what is static SNAT. Right. So for static SNAT, I have prepared SOP for that. So let's understand static SNAT using that SOP. So as you can see that first we will understand what is NAT. Basically NAT stands for network address translation, and it is a technique, or you can say it is method that is used to translate private IP addresses into public IP addresses, and it acts as an agent between private network and public network. Right? Basically what happens, private IP addresses are not routable on the internet. That's why we use NAT, right? So here, as you can see that I have written some points related to NAT that you can easily understand, right? So let's suppose there are two countries. One is the China and second one is the India, right? Chinese people don't understand Hindi language, and similarly Indian people don't understand Chinese language. So then we needs a person that can translate, or you can say that we need any technique that can translate both languages, right? Chinese to Hindi and Hindi to Chinese. So similarly NAT works, right? So यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हो कि there are three users, right? User one, right? You can call it this person is belongs to China, and this person is, who belongs to India, right? So both people don't know each other languages. So यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हो कि there is one person who knows both languages, Chinese language and Hindi language. So this man will translate Chinese into Hindi language, and Hindi language into Chinese language. That's how NAT works, right? I think this is clear, right? So, so in technical terms, what is source NAT, right? Basically, whenever any user who is sitting behind the firewall, I mean NAT, and this internal user, right, who is sitting inside the LAN and wants to access any public server or any public services over the public networks, that time we can call it yes NAT, right? So in Fortigate firewall, nets are divided into two types. Yes net, that means source net, and DNet, that means destination net. So as you can see that in Fortigate firewalls, net divided into two parts. Yes net and DNet. Yes net means source net, and DNet means destination net. So I will talk about this topic later. And basically in this video, I'm going to show you the static SNAT configuration lab, right? So in policy with source net, we will learn static net. So in static net, all internal IP addresses are always mapped to the same public IP address, and we can call it PAT, right, as well, port address translation. That means So one in a static NAT, right? In policy with source NAT, one single public IP address can handle the conversation of 60,000 internal IP, or you can say private IP addresses, right? With 60,416 port number as well, right? So in Fortigate Firewall, commonly we use outgoing interface for policy with source NAT, right? So if you will read the Fortigate theory, so you can easily understand, right? So here, as you can see that in static net, all internal IP addresses are always mapped to the same public IP address. This is the port address translation. So since we have 60,416 available port numbers, so this one single public IP address can handle the conversation of 60,400. So as you can see that right here, this one single public IP address can handle the conversation of 60,416 internal IP with 60,416 port number. So as you can see that there are different type of IP, 100.1, 100.1 and 100.2, right, which is translating into one single public IP address, that is 172.16.200.1, right? These internal IP addresses will be translating into one single public IP with difference, right? With the port number as well, right? So you can go through this document and you can easily understand how policy with source net work, right? So today I thought that I would like to make you clear this how to configure policy with source net in Fortigate Firewall. So that for that I have prepared SOP for this one. So let's understand policy with source net using below diagram. So as you can see that I have prepared a simple diagram for this topology. So first I would like to clear about this diagram, right? So as you can see, this is the internet cloud which is connected to my router, right? So I haven't any physical connection for this. So I have connected this router via my wireless network, right, which is connected to my Wi-Fi router, right? So this router is connected Fortigate Firewall 1 and Fortigate Firewall 2, right? So currently Fortigate Firewall is down because right now I don't have requirement for this Fortigate Firewall. So I am doing only lab, right? So as you can see that there are different I have two ISP1 and ISP2, right? Both ISP are in different subnet, right? So 192.168.99.0/28, which is in ISP1, and 192.163.168.99.0/29, which is in different subnet, right? So this IP address will be used for ISP2. So just you can assume that we have two ISP1 and ISP2, right? So both for your knowledge, so both ISP1 and ISP2 are the member of SD1. So I have already configured SD1 configuration in Fortigate Firewall, right? So management, this is the management PC which is connected by the physical machine. So currently I'm performing this lab in my Genes 3. So you can easily understand, right? So this is the my management interface from where I will access Fortigate Firewall, right? So this is the management interface 2, which is connected my PC, right? And behind the firewall, so as you can see that there are different VLAN 10 and VLAN 20, which is in different subnet. So VLAN 10 is 10.1.1.0/24 subnet, and VLAN 20 is in 10.1.2.0/24, right? So for naming, VLAN 10 is for production department and VLAN 20 is for IT department. So behind the firewall there is a switch which is connected to my end machine. So as you can see that this as you can see that this is the PC, or like you can assume that this is any user who is sitting behind the firewall, and there are different machine, right? So these PC1 and Chromium browser, right? So are in same VLAN, and this machine is in different VLAN, right? So I have configured on this interface, right? Or trunk, right? So here, as you can see that what will be the policy configuration. So policy configuration, I have given the name uh, test policy. This is the policy name, and incoming interface. What I have chosen PRD zone means production department, right? And outgoing interface is virtual WAN interface, virtual WAN link, right? So you can call it SD-WAN interface, right? So source, what I have selected 10.1.1 and 10.1.2, right? From where I will access public network, right? I will use public server, right? I will go from inside to outside, right? Destination, I have selected all, and scheduled always. Rent services, I have currently opened all. So as per your requirement, you can open, right? It's depend on you which services you want to access, right? So currently I am performing a lab, so I have opened all the services, right? So here inspection mode is flow based, right? So NAT, so basically NAT is on. So in policy with source NAT, we will always use outgoing interface. We do not use dynamic, yeah, a dynamic IP pool. So I will discuss this technology in later, right? So you have to always use outgoing interface address. So whatever IP addresses will configured on ISP ports, this will translate inside IP addresses into public IP addresses, right? So here, as you can see, now go to the PC1, which is installed in the LAN environment, and try to ping google.com or 8.8.8, then check that Fortigate session table in order to verify the NAT table. So as you can see that on PC1, I have configured what 10.1 IP address, right? And gateway is 10.1.1, which is in VLAN 10, right? So as you can see that I'm able to ping google.com. So in order to verify net table, or you can say session table, so you can use either get system session list, or either you filter using this command get system session list pipeline grep 10.1.1, which is IP address of 10.1.1 PC1, right? So here, as you can see that get system session list and pipeline grep 10.1.1, which is filtering, right, the session table of 10.1.1. So in that table, we can verify the net following things, right? So one thing I forget that explaining you. So here, as you can see that 10.1.1, right, which is the source IP address, right? And 8271, which is the source port number, and this IP address is translating into 193.168.99.2, which is the outgoing interface of the FortiGate firewall, right? So this is the destination port number, right? And this IP address going to, and this IP address is accessing this domain, right? This IP address. So you can say that google.com. So these are the configuration which I have configured on Chromium browser. So as you can see, so yeah, of course, once policy will be configured, so you will be able to access Google, whatever services you want to access, you can access. So as you can see that as per my lab, I'm able to access this service, right? HTTP service, HTTPS. So this is the session table of Chromium browser, which is the PC2 10.1.2, right? So here, this is the forwarding log, right? So you can also verify forwarding log of the policy. So now let's go to the lab setup, right, which I have prepared for you all. So I have already cleared all about this topology. So just for information, so this internet cloud is collected my Wi-Fi wireless network, and this ISP is connected to this wireless network, and there are two different ISP. So 192.168.99.0/28, which is the primary ISP, and 193.168.99.0/29, which is in of in ISP2. This is the IP address of ISP2, which I have taken from the different ISP, right? So this management machine is connected to my Fortigate Firewall. From here, I will access this Fortigate Firewall's GUI access. So this is the SVI interface. I'm in inter-VLAN routing on configure this Fortigate Firewall. And behind the firewall, there are different machines which is connected to the switch. And after that, switch is connected to the Fortigate Firewall on port 2, right? So there are two different departments, like production department and the IT department. Production department is VLAN 10 and IT department is VLAN 20. So now let's go to the Fortigate Firewall. So first I would like to show you the interface configuration, right? Here, as you can see that ISP1 is this range, I mean 192.168.99.2, which is the outgoing interface of the Fortigate firewall, and similarly ISP2, which is in 193.168.99.2, right, which is using /29, and this ISP1 using /28, right? So on port 4, I have configured interval and routing. So as you can see that here, right? And after that, I have configured SD-WAN, right? So these are the SD-WAN configuration, right? So as you can see, then I have after the interval and routing configuration, I have configured zone configuration, right? So this is the IT zone and production zone, right? So let me show you the SD-WAN configuration. So as you can see the SD-WAN configuration, and I haven't configured till now any SD-WAN rules. So this is the default rule of SD-WAN. And yeah, here as you can see that performance SLA which I have configured, right? So as you can see that ISP1 and ISP2 is participating in SD-WAN, right? And except this one I have configured. Besides it, I have configured the default route, right, towards the ISPs. So now, first I would like to show you that configuration of the machine, right, of the internal machine. Let me turn on this machine. So as you can see that this is the IP address which is configured on PC1. So currently I am not able to access google.com. So why I am not able to access this google.com, or you can type here 8.8.8, because till now I haven't configured any policy. That's why I'm not able to access. So first I'll have to configure policy, right? Let me show you the PC2, right? So as you can see that right now I'm not able to access any web services as well because I haven't configured any policy. So let's configure policy, right? In order to configure policy, so you have to go to policy and object, go to policy, firewall policy, right? So as you can see that this is the default policy, right? So as you can see that till now I haven't configured any policy. That's whatever traffic is coming to the firewall. So all the traffic is getting blocked, right? Because traffic is not my packet is not matching that. So that's why. So here I will give the test policy, right? You can give the name any of the as per your requirement. So I'll use incoming interface. Incoming interface will be what? PRD zone, right? So let me show you the PRD zone configuration. As you can see, the VLAN 10 is the PRD zone, all right? Outgoing interface will be the SD-WAN interface, right? Here, why ISP1 and ISP2 is not showing? Because ISP1 and ISP2 are the member of SD-WAN. So that's why both interface is not showing, right? Source I will choose what? 10.1.2. So either you can create from here, right? So if you want to add any host, you can create here as well. So destination I will use all. So because I am doing labs, right? Services all, and net. Yeah, always in policy with source net, we will use outgoing interface address. So outgoing interface, it will use the what IP address you have configured. I mean, which IP address you have configured on Fortigate Firewall's interface, right? I will show you the outgoing interface IP address, right? So all session, I'm not applying any security profile because I'm performing lab. So let me show you the first that exit interface of the firewall interface. So as you can see that ISP1 exit interface is, sorry, FortiGate firewall exit interface is 192.168.99.2 and 193.168.99.2, which is the exit interface. So whatever traffic will come from inside to outside, so those IP addresses will be translated into both these IP addresses. Either it will use 193 or it will use 192. It's depend on the SD-WAN configuration, right? So this is the use outgoing interface IP address, right? So I have configured firewall policy, right? So as you can see that as soon as I have configured the policy, the traffic is getting matched, right? So let's check that now I'm able to access google.com or not. Yes, I'm able to access google.com, right? So at this time, you will be also able to access 8.8.com. So whatever services you want to access, you can access because I have allowed all the services ping what? Amazon.com. So as you can see that, right? So let's go to the browser. Yeah, as you can see that I'm able to access the google.com as well. Let's make cricket. So as you can see that I'm able to access any service, whatever I want to access, right? Or you can access also imagine is. So as you can see that I'm able to access all the services which I have allowed on the firewall. So let me show you the session table of the Fortigate firewall. We will see that which IP addresses is translating into the outgoing interface of the Fortigate firewall. Let me refresh the firewall. So you will see able that there are lots of the heap will be there. So as you can see that at this time 1.34 MB. So let me show you the session table of the Fortigate firewall. Get system session table. Sorry, get system session list. This is the command. So as you can see that there are lots of session table inside the Fortigate firewall, but we will filter this session table. So what command I will use? Get system session list pipeline grep 10.1.1.1. So as you can see that this IP address, I mean 10.1.1.1, which is translating into 193.168. Let me show you. This IP address, right? The user who is sitting I mean behind the firewall, I mean LAN network is going through the this IP, right? So 10.1.1.1, this is the source IP address, and this is the source port number, and this is the outgoing interface of the Fortigate firewall, right? So and this is the translated IP address, and this is the port number, right? Destination port, I mean translated port number. It is the similar, it is the same, right? As this time. Let me try to ping one more time. Now again, let's check the session table. As you can see that protocol type is ICMP, right? This is the source IP address, right? And this is source port number and source IP. I mean outgoing interface of the Fortigate firewall. So this IP address is translating this IP address, right? So in the policy with source NAT, we will always use outgoing interface of the Fortigate firewall, right? As per the document of the Fortigate firewall. It's depend on you, right? How you configure the policy with source NAT. So again, let's check that session table of machine 2. So as you can see, this IP address, I mean, this is the source IP address which is translating this one, right? And this IP address going to this, right? And it is accessing this 443, right? Can you see this? And protocol number is TCP, right? Let me show you the interface IP address configure. So system interface, sorry, get system interface physical. So, so system interface. So here, as you can see that interface configuration, right? And let me show you the forwarding, I mean, policy logs, right? Can you see this one? 10.1.1.2, which is going to this destination IP, right? Which is using policy 1, and 10.1.2 is going to google.com, right? So this is very clear to understand, right? How policy with source NAT works, right? So as you can see that policy configuration, right? At this time there is 146 heat count. So let me show you one more time the policy with source NAT, right? Policy with source NAT. In policy with source NAT, all internal IP addresses are always mapped to the same public IP address. This is the port address translation since we have 60,416 available port numbers. So this one single public IP address can handle the conversation of 60,416 internal IP address. So here it is written that Fortigate Firewall configuration commonly use outgoing interface, right? Outgoing interface means what? Outgoing interface means this one, right? Use outgoing interface. If I show you the configuration, use outgoing interface. So just click on go to network and interfaces. So this interfaces, right? So at this time, as per the SD1 configuration, internal IP addresses are translating in 193.168.99.2, right? So here, as you can see that clearly it is written proto, and protocol expiring time, source and the source NAT and destination NAT, right? So I haven't configured any destination NAT, that's why it is not showing here. So as you can see, these IP addresses are translating this, right? So if you are beginner, so this video will be helpful for you, right? So what is source NAT? I mean policy with source NAT, and how we configure policy with source NAT in Fortigate Firewall. So thank you for watching this video. If you have understood anything from this video, so I would like to request you, please like and subscribe and share with your colleagues so that if he or they are patient, so they can easily understand what is policy with source NAT in Fortigate Firewall. So for more information, you can go to the docs.fortinet.com website, which is the official website, right? From there, you can understand what is policy with source NAT. So yeah, once you read this theory, so you can easily understand using this lab, right? So thanks for watching this video till the end.